Ndị Global Society for Anti-Corruption bụ ndị otu chọrọ ịchụ mpụ na aghụghọ dị na Naịjirịa ọsọ elu ana. Ha na-agbasi mbọ ike wee na-akpọku ikwu na ibe ndị ọrụ na-eru n'okwu ndị aka ji akụ ka ha bịa kwado ha ka e wee mee gịnị wee chụọ mpụ na aghụghọ na alụ dị iche iche nke na-eme n'ala anyị ọsọ elu ana. Ya bụ ịchụ ha ka ụkwụ ha ghara ilu anụ, ka obodo anyị wee dị n'udo, ka ọ dị mma, ihe dị mma wee batabazie n'obodo anyị. Ya mere ha ji akpọku ikwu na ibe ndị aka ji akụ ndị chọrọ udo ka ha bịa kwado ha. Ị ga-afụ akara ekwentị ha na ihu onyonyo a. Ọzọkwa, ndị Global Society for Anti-Corruption bụ ndị na-eyi aka wee na-anata ihe a napụrụ ndị mmadụ n'ụzọ na-ezighị ezi, n'ụzọ mpụ na n'ụzọ aghụghọ. Ya bụ ọ bụrụ na ewe ka esi napụ gị ihe n'ụzọ na-ezighị ezi, kpọọ akara ekwentị ha ugbu a ka e nyere gị aka wee napụta ha ihe niile nke a napụrụ gị n'ụzọ na-ezighị ezi, mana ị ga-ejide ihe akaebe. Ya bụ kpọọ ha ugbu a. Ndị Society for Anti-Corruption na-ewepụta ndị gbara ọkpụrụkpụ ka ha na-abịa ekwu otu a ga-esi wee wepụ mpụ n'ala anyị. Ngwa kirizie nke a ka ịnụ ihe a ga-ekwu gbasara ụmụ mpụ dị iche iche na ndọrọ ndọrọ nakwa ụmụ mpụ a na-eme n'ụzọ ọzọ dị iche iche. Ngwa kirienu nke a.
To encourage our citizens, ndị Enugu, ndị Igbo, to come out and express their rights of selection. That's number one. Number two, that they should monitor. I am not bothered about allegations, accusations, but it must be made of thinner stuff so that you know what to do. For an instance, the 6 callers here, it is only one, the last caller, who made something that appeared to be very solid and valid. And he's talking about having an interim regime before a new election takes place, so that people will not use their position or their incumbency factors to swear things unto themselves. And now, on that, you know that election is guided by the law and the processes. And until you have a law that says so, INEC will not go that way. We have the constitution, we have the electoral law. And in a country, there is usually no vacuum. If you ask me, in a state, there is no usually vacuum. Now, the issue of corruption, even within INEC, you can understand for the first time, we had over hundreds of staff that were on interdiction, and a good number of them that are being prosecuted for what happened in 2015. It was a signal to the INEC staff that it is no longer business as usual. And Nigerians are observing and monitoring that. But nobody is talking about it. What people talk about, oh, we suspect that the election is not. What is your telltale signs? Nobody will tell you. I've never seen any. Somebody talks about INEC having the power to stop vote buying. And let me come to this again. You know, vote buying is not a new phenomenon. Yeah. When politicians go to your communities and donate money to your community and ask them to come and vote for them, it's an indirect means of vote buying. It's inducements. Those ones happen well before we open our shops for elections in the polling units. Some immediately the election is around the corner. What you discover, the same number of people that are calling now will form themselves into different youth groups and begin to approach politicians for support. Hey, you will meet this youth group and you discuss with them. They call it in a course that the politicians now that's come to grease their pants. Yes.
You've observed elections, so how do you come into all of this?
I think the issue of calling INEC for this particular role of saying no to vote buying and selling, to me, is not necessary. We in the civil society organization are supposed to be the one. Like on Saturday, 1st December, the Young African Leadership Initiative, YALI, we took to the streets of Ababa to convince people in the market.
Okay.
And what was our discussion? Enough is enough. We are tired.
Okay, there was an Igbo phrase you used before we started.
Yes, no, that one is totally different.
Okay.
But what we are preaching now is, do not sell your vote.
Okay.
Neither will you even want to buy as a politician. And do not tell your child. Because what we are crying is not for us any longer. We are talking of younger generations below 18 years.
Okay.
And if you say INEC, like from the INEC rec, he just said something. He said, you don't expect us to sit down instead of attending to people by giving them ballot paper, accrediting and whatever. You still expect us to be shouting. In the polling booth, you have the police. You have electoral observers. You have party agents. Now, what is now the role of us in the civil society organization when it comes to the electoral process? Must it be INEC?
No.
It must not be only INEC.
Let me bring up.
Well, thank you very much. You know, like in every, I would say it's like a competition. In every competition, people are desperate. And then, but I think I would liken it to a football match. If you have watched World Cup or this, there's a procedure, there's a standard, there's a goal you score and it will be disqualified. Because there's rules, there's guidelines. And then in politics, it's also in the electoral process, it's supposed to be so. And then when people now engage in, because they are desperate, everybody wants to win at all costs. But there should be a regulation that should make it not be a do or die affair or winning at all costs. What is that regulation? As like our boss has rightly defended his office rightly. And then there should be a regulation.
Who is supposed to provide this regulation?
I think it should come from INEC.
Okay.
So that there are things you do. It's just like when they said, you know, these days, due to desperation, when they give you money, they want to make sure that when you go to polling booth, they will go as far as going to snap you. I mean, for me, that is crazy.
I understand this psychology. Even in a football context, between Nigeria and Argentina, you are not a footballer. But some of you will vow not to watch that match until it is over because of tension. So every competition has its own associated tension. And those tensions sometimes, led people in doing what? Losing their cool about what should be done. And when you write a narrative, or when you continue a narrative that derogates the commission, which is a people's institution, you are not helping the process either. You should call a spade at all times, so that when we are dealing with issues, we deal with proper issues. Election costs money. You don't expect us to deal with issues, spend money on it, and it will not have that return on investment, which is credible election.
Okay, there's so much to say. Hello? The calls are jamming. Hello? Yeah, good morning, Mr. Madoka.
How are you today? I'm fine.
I'm better than you.
Are you sure, Uche?
Go ahead, sir.
I want to greet the INEC officers in the studio.
Thank you.
One thing I know is that Independent Electoral Commission, in abbreviation INEC, has been doing everything possible to bring to us a credible election in this country. But the problem is this. When we begin to depend on them, most times, they don't give Nigerians what we want. It is from their hand elections are being rigged. It is from INEC that we begin to hear all kinds of corrupt.
All right, your closing remarks, Mr. Dan Ogun.
I think my closing remark, and each time, I think so far so good.
Let's make it as brief as we can.
Anambra election has been the most outstanding and the model for me.
They didn't accuse INEC of
I didn't know why they are not talking about another Anambra election. Each time they are talking about Chizzy and Osun. For me, Anambra election has remained a model, a standard, of which, and you see, there's no. I mean, I think that people should be talking about, because You see, this INEC is doing a good job, and there's people that make it happen. And then, like every other thing has gone bad, life is about hope. We should hope that things continue to improve, because that's the only way we can move forward in this country. Okay. You see, as far as I'm concerned, let's use Anambra election as a model. And
then get involved.
Yes, and get involved, because you found out there was less. If you watch the election, it was peaceful, and then I think INEC should be commended there.
All right, thank you. Quickly,
let all of us come together. The fact that we have done it in the time past, maybe as somebody said, they will bring reports, INEC is not implemented. We should not give up. Let us keep fighting.
Okay.
One day we'll get it right, and we'll change the narratives.
All right, thank you, Ambassador.
Should abandon it and start chasing about those who are sharing and collecting money. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Take for instance, in a polling unit where you have up to 500 registered voters and 400 turns up, and you are going to deal with this 400 between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. That leaves you with about 6 or 8 hours, and share it among 400. You have less than 5 minutes or 6 to deal with each. And any distraction will leave them in tatters. And that is the simple and practical thing that I want Nigerians to observe. That look, all of us have a role. Where we are not doing our own well, it don't say we feel that election will not work well. That is where the problem starts. Take for instance, Ndi Enugu. Up before I came, I assumed duty, we had over 1.4 million registered voters. Not up to half of this population had ever voted, which gives room for also some challenges in the past. People should register and come out. If you have 80%, it reduces the chances of anybody doing any manipulation.
I wish we had more time, but this is as much as time will permit us. Uche Gabriel is my name, and do have a great day ahead of you.